November 22, 1963, Dallas, Texas. The America politics would never be the same again. A young, charismatic president, John F. Kennedy, rides through the crowded streets, waving to cheering citizens. Moments later, a sound erupts. The president is shot twice. Panic, screams, chaos. In just seconds, the American dream collapses into disbelief. But behind the smoke and confusion of Dealey Plaza, a darker mystery begins. Who really killed JFK, and why? We will uncover deep mystery regarding JFK death and who might have killed JFK Kennedy. Before John F. Kennedy ever crossed his sights, Lee Harvey Oswald had already tried and failed to kill someone else. On April 10, 1963, 7 months before the Dallas shooting, Oswald aimed his rifle at retired Army General Edwin Walker, a fierce anti-communist known for his hardline views. He pulled the trigger but missed. The bullet fired that day came from the very same Mannlicher Carcano rifle Oswald would later use against President Kennedy. When the bullets flew in Dallas, Kennedy wasn't the only victim. Sitting just ahead of the president was Texas Governor John Connally. He was struck multiple times, suffering wounds to his chest, back, lungs, and thigh. Yet, miraculously, he survived. A local bystander, James Tague, was hit in the face by flying debris after one bullet struck the curb. But the violence didn't stop there. Just 45 minutes later, Dallas police officer J.D. Tippit confronted Oswald on a quiet street. Oswald drew his revolver and fired 4 times. Tippit died instantly. As Kennedy was rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital, the nation held its breath. At 1 p.m., the 46-year-old president was pronounced dead. An hour and 39 minutes later, aboard Air Force One, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson stood beside a grieving Jackie Kennedy as he was sworn in as the 36th President of the United States. The world had just witnessed one of the most shocking transitions of power in history, inside the very plane carrying Kennedy's body. 2 days later, in front of rolling cameras, America saw something unthinkable. Live on television. As Oswald was being transferred to another jail, nightclub owner Jack Ruby emerged from the crowd and shot him in the stomach. Oswald collapsed, the accused assassin of JFK, dead before ever facing trial. Ruby claimed he killed Oswald to spare Jackie Kennedy the pain of returning for court. But his actions only fueled conspiracy theories that someone wanted Oswald silenced. Ruby was sentenced to death, but his conviction was overturned. He died of cancer before his second trial. 1 week after the assassination, President Johnson formed the Warren Commission, led by Chief Justice Earl Warren. After 10 months of investigation, they concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, and that Jack Ruby was not part of any larger plot. But the public wasn't convinced. How could a lone man with a $21 rifle destroy the most powerful man in the world? The doubts never faded. In the 1970s, new committees re-examined the case. The Rockefeller Commission and the Church Committee largely agreed with the Warren findings. But in 1978, the House Select Committee on Assassinations came to a shocking conclusion: that Kennedy was probably killed as part of a conspiracy. They believed there may have been a second gunman. But that claim relied on disputed acoustic evidence, recordings that many experts later dismissed. Even committee members eventually distanced themselves from the theory. The truth remained tangled in secrecy. What if the government already knew Oswald was dangerous? Documents later revealed that both the CIA and FBI had been tracking Oswald for months before the assassination. He had defected to the Soviet Union in 1959, married a Russian woman, and returned to America under suspicion. In September 1963, Oswald traveled to Mexico City, where he met with officials at the Soviet and Cuban embassies, and allegedly spoke openly about his plan to kill Kennedy. The CIA hid these details from the Warren Commission. Even J. Edgar Hoover, the powerful FBI director, admitted in a memo that the agency needed to convince the public that Oswald is the real assassin. Some historians believe Hoover feared exposure, that the FBI's failure to act could destroy the Bureau's reputation. Warren Commission lawyer William Coleman even interviewed Fidel Castro secretly on a fishing boat off the coast of Cuba. Castro denied any involvement, But the CIA was hiding something else. They had been trying for years to assassinate Castro, even working with the mafia to do it. If those plots had been exposed, it could have been catastrophic for U.S. intelligence. JFK's assassination remains one of history's greatest mysteries, a story tangled in lies, politics, and power. In 1993, Congress passed the President John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act, ordering all related government documents to be released to the public. Yet even today, thousands of pages remain classified. Was Lee Harvey Oswald really a lone gunman? Or was he just a pawn in a much bigger game, involving the CIA, the Soviets, and the shadows of power? Over 60 years later, the world is still asking the same question: who really killed John F. Kennedy?